Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cackle. This is Entry Point's weekly interview series where we highlight small businesses, startups, and people who are having an impact on communities across the Midwest. I'm Emily Heinz. I'm the founder and managing director of Entry Point. And at Entry Point, we partner with economic development organizations and nonprofits to foster inclusive and vibrant communities across the Midwest through research and community-focused programming. So this week, I'm super excited. We're doing a special edition of the Cackle, which is why you're seeing me on Tuesday and not on Wednesday. So today, Wednesday, and Thursday at 10:30 a.m., we will be featuring small business owners from Genesee County that contributed to our 2021 Genesee County Small Business Analysis, and more importantly, are the people who are leading small businesses in the region. So today we're talking to the owners of Fireside Coffee, Kentucky Athletic and Social Clubs, and Citizens Statewide Security. So I'm really pumped. We were just talking beforehand and everyone's like very excited. So as you may know, on Monday, Entry Point released a new comprehensive analysis of Genesee County's small business community. You can check out the report and others at entrypointmi.com. We're also going to put it in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, it'll be in the comments section, so you can check out the research. It's 40 pages, very comprehensive, lots of like stories and highlights and trends. Was such an interesting project to work on. And we really want to take an opportunity at the very beginning of this episode to urge you to expand your definition of shopping local to doing business locally, and really continue supporting local small businesses of all types in whatever ways you can as we emerge from the pandemic. So it's going to take years for many businesses to recover, or for all of us to recover personally as business owners. So really, if you are, support your local small business community is more than just like a holiday trend or buying gifts. It's, your local accounting firm, your local, business services, your local coffee shops, all of those things. So on today's episode, we're going to be hearing from small business owners in Genesee County, touching on a few overall stats from our research and talking to Tyler Messler, the executive director of Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance, on why they commissioned this research. So if you have any comments, questions, shout outs, really like all of the things, put them in the comment section. We can see them and we can kind of try to interact with them a little bit. And then make sure you share this video so that everyone can see it and learn from all these awesome businesses. So, and now I'd like to welcome on Tyler Messler. Hey!
Hi, Emily.
How are you doing?
Great.
Thanks. Tiny surprise that I didn't even show you yet.
I
got printed copies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm super excited. I was like, oh, it looks so good, my baby.
Emily, I just gotta say though, thank you so much for all the love and care you put into that report, and it really shines through. So we're excited for it.
Yeah, it was awesome to work with you guys, and we love doing that kind of thing. So we're it was so great learning more about the small business community there, and a lot of things that I did not know about the region. I've been there, obviously many times, but it was really cool to dig in more. Okay, so start by giving us a little bit of an introduction of the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance. I know a lot of people might be still thinking, the Flint and Genesee Chamber of Commerce. Now we've got you guys split up and all of those.
You're on it.
So tell all the people the things.
We are a part of the Flint and Genesee group, which was formerly known as the Flint and Genesee Chamber, but we have rebranded each of our divisions. The Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance, which I run, is the county's economic development organization, the EDO, as they say. Our job is to spur economic vitality through jobs and investment. And so that's why we have a particular interest in small businesses.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a small business fan girl, so I'm always anything that can help the small businesses. I'm such a fan, I actually started one. Started a small business of my own. Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance, for those of you that don't know, they hired Entry Point to develop a comprehensive analysis of the small business community in Genesee County. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
And then why why did you guys decide to do this level of research? Like, why now do it, not like wait until after the pandemic is over, or, you know?
Well, the pandemic was really pivotal for us in many ways. One is we almost got called into emergency response right in March of 2020. Small businesses were being shut down. All of a sudden, the world changed, and we were helping shepherd a lot of grant programs, and we were heartbroken to hear the stories of what people were going through. We have always had a focus on small business, but it really shook us to our core to say, small businesses are the lifeblood of our community. And I think more than that, in Genesee County at least, they are the way we interpret our sense of place. It's like, hey, have you been to Swartz Creek? It's got a really cool coffee shop. Or, hey, have you been to Flint? It's got a really neat restaurant. Or this cute boutique in Fenton.
Yeah.
These are the ways we interpret our community. And so spurring jobs and investment, we thought that's an important place for us to play.
Yeah, we did get a lot of like right in the beginning of the pandemic. I think like everybody was just like, losing their minds. I know like I was just like probably the first like 6 weeks of the pandemic, like running a business, I was like had gone totally unhinged. And we were getting a lot of requests at Entry Point just for like, we do a number of research reports on like different communities, and people were kind of like, what, how many businesses are there? Like, what were their challenges going into the pandemic? Like, they weren't sure like which businesses were like viable to begin with before the pandemic. And then like, how do you support those businesses versus businesses that were having problems anyway? Or like, like how many tech companies are there versus, and are they having problems now? And so it is like, I do feel like the data gives you a good like baseline and like way to measure things so that when things like the pandemic happen, you're kind of like prepared. So kudos to you guys, because I'm like, I think a lot of businesses were kind of like, a lot of like community focused organizations were like really caught flat footed, if that is the saying.
Well, that is the same. And I think we were still caught flat footed, but I appreciate the thought.
Yeah. You're like, we were totally ready.
Yeah. But I do think data is really important when we're shaping what we want to be informed on. What we're doing is having impact. And so I think this report really helped us in that.
Cool. So I think that, I guess talk about like, what are you planning on doing with the research?
Yeah, well, we are facilitating some community discussions with our partners. Economic development is a team sport, and we're not saying we're going to do it alone. So that's the number one thing. But then we're using it to make sure we're shaping our programming around where the largest need, challenges, and biggest impact can take place. And so that we're going to use it to focus how we are programming our time and energy.
So like strategy. That makes sense. So for kind of the people that are watching that are not super familiar with Genesee County, it was, like, I think over the last 100 years, like Genesee County, it was like where Flint is. So if people are kind of like, where's Genesee County? It's Flint and surrounding area. So, which many people watching who are from Genesee County are like, don't describe us like that. We're many places, not just Flint. So there was like a booming auto industry was like a front runner during the Industrial Revolution was kind of like huge back in the day. Like very
Flint was the Silicon Valley of 1908. I mean, it was where industry and entrepreneurship was happening, and it created a lot of wealth in our community. The problem, I mean, looking back on it now, was that a lot of our eggs were in one basket, and that was kind of a problem for the economy. But at the same time, it is a place of great pride. It is a place of great ingenuity and resilience. And sometimes I get a little annoyed when people say, "Oh, Flint's a resilient place," or "Genesee County is a resilient place." But having been there, grown up here, and and now working in this area, I really do believe it. And I think my definition of resilience is they keep getting up. The people keep getting up. They find out new ways to approach old problems. And I think that is what they do. And that's certainly clear in our entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. What were some of your like overall takeaways from the report?
Well, in the report, you talked about the demographics of the community, and about 70%, 71% of our community identifies as white, and the remaining 30% divided between lots of minority groups, but large majority of that 30% is African American. But the opposite almost was true in our entrepreneurial study. In the small business community, a lot more people who identify as folks of color and women are a lot more entrepreneurial than the makeup of the community. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's something about how entrepreneurial women and communities of color, people of color, are in our community. And so what makes me think about is, what are we doing to help those communities in particular help grow their business? So that was striking. I think because it was so different from the demographics of the community, it wasn't in line. It wasn't like what you would expect. It was tilted opposite. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is we find in across various communities is just like creating opportunity. Like if there's challenges to accessing certain resources or certain social inequities, I feel like people like women and people of color tend to start businesses and find opportunity where they can. And so
I think that's cool. I think it's really exciting and really neat. And we've got to figure out ways to make sure we're supporting those communities really well.
Yeah. And so small businesses generally, what we found in the report was that they were concentrated. 60% were in Flint, 9% in Grand Blanc, 7% in Fenton. Kind of goes with population density throughout those places. And
just to back up on that is that the county is about 400,000 people. A little less than 100,000 live in the city of Flint. So, 25% of the county's population is there. And then the smaller communities from there fall below.
And then it's really funny is they always choose while I'm live on the internet to do the lawn maintenance near our house. And now all of a sudden I just heard a weed whacker and I'm like, of course.
You're literally supporting a small business probably right now.
Why do you guys know? They're like, Emily is on the internet live. I just saw it go live. Go out there, guys. Why me?
I can't do
it. So then it's I also found that you guys, you had mentioned having, all your eggs in one basket in 1908, which seems so long ago. But but now you really do have a really large diversity of sectors, more I would say more balanced than a lot of other regions. You guys are the 5th largest county, but I would say one of the more balanced counties as far as sectors. People can really, so it's when I said early on in the episode, really broadening the scope of don't shop local, think more about doing business locally. You guys have a lot of local professional services organizations. People can get their taxes done there. You can get lunch with a friend at a local restaurant. You can, shop at a number of retail stores. You've got tons of great nonprofits doing work in the community. You've got all of these different types of business that I think really do create a more vibrant community within the county.
That was really helpful when you made that point in the report clear. That was really helpful to me about expanding our definition, not just shopping or dining, which are important. We're not saying that, but it's also broader of working with a local CPA for your taxes or
Yeah.
Whatever those professional services are, we have enough population size that we actually have those industries here.
Yeah. How do you think, I mean, you've worked in economic development a long time, and so have I. We're getting up there in age. So how do you think that economic development organizations can better support small businesses? Not necessarily just from like the Flint Genesee Economic Alliance, but like as an organization type.
Yeah, I think the strength of the strength of an economic development organization is in its network, to be a connector. And I think that is our role, and that's when we are operating best. So not trying to be the answer. Don't be a strategy expert. Don't be a financial expert, but be the place that a small business can come to that can help them find the right people. And so I think that is the best place for an economic developer to be, as that community navigator, the one who can translate a denial at a bank to a service that will help them overcome that challenge.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So I think that's really our role.
Tyler's one of the good ones, I think.
Okay.
Because I agree, it's like, instead of like, I do feel like my interactions now as a business owner with economic development professionals tend to be either like the reduced challenges and obstacles for me, or bureaucracy, like so difficult, so like tedious, like things like that. And so I think that it really is like so critical for economic developers, especially when you're working with like a small business where you literally don't have enough hours in the day.
This is why my team gave me, my team gave me Yoda. Our role as an economic developer is to not be Luke Skywalker and win the day. The small business owner is the Luke Skywalker. Our job is to be like Yoda and help them on their path to taking down the empire.
I like that. Okay, I'll let you go, and we're going to bring up our first small business owner, and then we will be seeing you tomorrow as well.
Great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this.
Cool. Okay. See you. Okay. So our first special guest today is Angie Root from Fireside Coffee, which is located in Swartz Creek.
Hi.
Were you cringing when I just said like Flint and surrounding areas? Were you like, yeah, great, Swartz Creek is here too. Like, why are you?
Honestly, like, yeah, we're in Swartz Creek, but we love being associated with Flint. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, so I don't mind it at all.
Okay. Yeah. So for background, Fireside Coffee is a craft coffee roaster and coffee shop founded in 1988. You distribute to retailers nationwide, and then in 2016, you added a coffee shop onto your building, which is like a very popular local spot.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, that is sort of our background. If anybody has ever been here before, we are in a non-traditional location where you wouldn't normally expect to find a coffee shop. So we even kind of have a little tagline of weird location, great coffee, because we know our location is weird. Like you wouldn't.
Wait, why is it weird?
So we're in a residential neighborhood right next to an elementary school. Our buildings are set back off the road. So when you're driving by, you can't even actually see us. We share a driveway with a residential home. So when people see our sign, the first thing they see is that house, and they think that house is Fireside. But we have two large brick buildings down the driveway at the back. You just have to pull in to see them. But the way that came about, it's not like we drove around and we were like, let's choose this weird location and open up a coffee shop. We actually got these buildings in the early 90s when our business was primarily wholesale, and we were distributed to other businesses around the country. And our location didn't need to be visible from the road. It didn't matter because we weren't really open to the public. We were just doing our manufacturing and our shipping from there. But then a few years ago, 2016, like you mentioned, we decided we wanted to have a space that was open to the community, that the community could come into and actually have a cup of coffee. So we took our existing building and just converted part of it into a coffee shop, almost as an experiment. We weren't sure if anybody would ever find us because, it's such a different kind of location. But it works. And
yeah, that is really cool. I feel like everyone dropping their kids off at elementary school is probably just dying for a cup of coffee.
right.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a great location. Anybody who lives in that neighborhood that you guys live by must just be like, is you?
Yeah, it can be pretty convenient for that and for the teachers and stuff at the school. They can get caffeinated.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like sort of your experience growing a business in Genesee County.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Genesee County is all we've ever known. It's our home. So to compare it to growing a business somewhere else, I don't know how to compare that. But my mom started the business in 1988 in our kitchen. And she didn't actually like set out to start a business. It was more of a side project, a hobby. She started selling her coffee at local like craft fairs and things like that. And then soon local stores started approaching her and asking if they could carry her products in her store. So then she started wholesaling, and it really snowballed from there. So growing a business in Genesee County for us was a very organic process. It was the business evolved over time from what it started out in our kitchen to adding on to our home to make a manufacturing facility, to outgrowing that and finding our current location in the early 90s, and evolving, over time. So what started as mostly wholesale, then like years ago, obviously we added a website and we started selling online, and then working with local restaurants and coffee shops, and then opening up our own coffee shop. So that process has been great, but like I said, Genesee County is our home. It's all we know.
Yeah. What do you see for like where you guys are headed next?
Yeah, that's a question we get because people are like, "Are you going to get like a real location?" Are you?
Yeah, like is it more like going to go towards customer service with like coffee shop, or is it going to like kind of stay, or like, yeah, what do you guys do?
Well, I'll never say never to a second location or to a different location. That's not something that's necessarily on our radar right now. Our goal is more to work with other businesses locally in Genesee County, other restaurants and coffee shops, so that if they're looking for a coffee supplier, if they serve coffee in their restaurant and they're looking for something that they can source locally, we'd love to be we'd love to have that partnership with them, because that's what we really try to do with our wholesale partners, especially our local ones, is to work together with them so that they don't have to learn everything about coffee. We can be a resource for them, and we can help in any way that they want us to, so finding more partnerships like that, as opposed to transactional ordering something from, some place. I mean, we try to do that here in our coffee shop too. We try to work with as many local places, carry as many local like vendor products that we can. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said that, 'cause we do a section in the report near the end of the report that is on sort of the economic impact of supporting local businesses. So it's like when people are shopping local, you're not just like supporting that particular business, but like small businesses are more likely to like give to local charities, are more likely to like work with fellow small business owners. They also employ people within that community, and like, all of from the janitor to the people that are working there, like the proceeds of whatever they earn is going and sort of staying in the community, versus like if you shop on Amazon, which is like the enemy of everyone's like, the small business can sell on Amazon. I'm like, yeah, for a fee that you're paying Jeff Bezos, but whatever. But like, yeah, so it's just like the economic impact of supporting a local business is like so much more than if you shop on Amazon, where the money just kind of goes wherever. Definitely. So what, according to our research, speaking of research, in Genesee County, 64% of women-owned businesses cease operations before their 6th year of doing business. So that was like one, and it's not out of line with like the national average is about 50%. So 50% of businesses usually like fail within the first 5 years. So it's a little bit higher women-owned businesses in Genesee County in particular, but not anything outrageous. What is your advice to kind of like fellow business owners on successfully running a business for you guys have been around for over 30 years, and like you guys have navigated like many an obstacle in the 30 years. So what would your advice to like other business owners be?
Well, what has worked for us, I don't know if it's, works for everybody, but like I said, we started in the beginning small, and we grew very naturally and organically. We didn't rush through it. My mom wasn't even like setting out to really start a business, but she had this thing she was doing. And then as it picked up momentum, it very naturally evolved. And then when we opened our coffee shop here, we sort of did the same thing. We started out pretty small. We didn't like go nuts with building like a state-of-the-art facility when we were first starting. We built out the coffee shop, and then as the coffee shop grew and we got more customers and picked up, then we started evolving like what we did there very naturally. So I would say like for us, it's worked to like not rush things and to see how things evolve and what the customers are wanting, because we could have invested like all this money into something we thought was going to be like super cool in the coffee shop, and people are just going to love it. And then it turns out our customers come in and they all kind of like go the other way. And, so we were able, since we didn't do that, since we just kind of took small steps as we grew, we were able to provide what the customers wanted, like based on their feedback. And then I would always say like having a learning mindset, keeping an open learning mindset. There's always something new you can learn. So whether that's like reading books, talking to other business owners, you never know where you're going to take inspiration from. Even if it's not like your exact industry, often you can like learn something from somebody else and maybe adapt it in a way that works for your business, but always keeping like an open mind and a learning mindset, because things are always evolving and changing. And, I think you have to be open-minded to evolve and change your business along with it.
Man, that's really great advice. I didn't do that question ahead of time, but I'm like, I don't even know how I would have answered that. I do think it takes like so much, like speaking as a business owner, like I feel like it takes a lot of discipline to like kind of follow customer need and just like go slowly, because you kind of like the world is your oyster. Like that's one of the great things about running your own business. Like you make the rules, you do what you want kind of thing. But like it is like the number one reason that businesses fail is that like there's no market. Like they're just like, yeah, great business. Nobody wants that.
It can all be like really exciting in the beginning. So you're like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to, put all of our funds into that. And it turns out that wasn't quite what the customers wanted, and you kind of need to shift. So
yeah. And you kind of have like sort of taken over the management of the organization from your mom, like as like that was like what she said. So like I was like, that's what her words were. And so like that's really cool to have like kind of a family like legacy business, and like kind of be able to like put in your own ideas and like shape the future of the business.
Yeah, it's fun. We work together still. So my mom founded the business, and we work together running it along with my husband. He is our head of production and head roaster. So we truly are a family business, and the three of us work together pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I have one other. Oh, how do you feel that, so like I asked this of Tyler, but how do you feel that economic development organizations and like other sort of like business support organizations could do better by like supporting the small business community in the future? That's a great question. We have appreciated all the help we've gotten, especially in this last year with the pandemic, and receiving grants that helped us keep our staff employed when we were like shifting how we had to do business. So those kinds of things definitely came in handy for us. But I also think that like the training and the resources and things that economic development agencies often put on are helpful. They're often hard for small business owners to get to, because it's like you're so busy running your business that I don't have an hour to go and like learn about this accounting thing or learn about Google. But I think those kinds of things are really important. And when a business owner can carve out time for them to have that sort of resource base, and then like the creating opportunities, to connect with other businesses, because
That's so important for so many small businesses. We want to work with other small businesses, as I'm sure, most of them in Genesee County do. So to have opportunities to align with other businesses in the area that you can work together with.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I feel like it's so helpful when you can connect with someone that's kind of like in your same industry running a business that's like similar to yours, but maybe like a few years ahead too. I'm always like, so does it get like easier or does it no? And then they're like, well, as long as there's not another global pandemic, well, I'll be fine. So cool. Well, where can people go to find out more information about Fireside?
Well, if you're in the area, you can come to our weird location. We're on Elms Road in Swartz Creek, so definitely stop into the coffee shop because we're open 7 days a week. Our website is firesidecoffee.com, so you can go there, or our Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. However, you can find us online. Yep, but definitely stop into our coffee shop because we're open every day. Or if you're not in the area, go to our website.
And what if people wanted to, like, our local businesses that kind of want to sell your coffee? Because that's what you guys do too with like distribution. Like, do they just reach out to you through your website as well?
Yeah, definitely. On the website, there is a wholesale link, so people can click that and put in their information, or they can reach out to me directly. I'm just Angie at firesidecoffee.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions and open it if we can.
Yay! Cool. Well, it was great talking to you, and thank you so much again for being on.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So really quick, I'm going to take a small commercial moment, which I've never done one of these before, so hopefully this is charming. So I just want to thank the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance. They are sponsoring today's episode. The Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance is a division of the Flint and Genesee Group. It's the lead economic development organization for Genesee County, Michigan, and they're dedicated to building a more vibrant economy. To this end, the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance provides tools, resources, and guidance to local companies of all sizes, stages, to support their growth. And then, like, personally, I found them delightful to work with. We work with a lot of organizations across the Midwest, a lot of like economic developers and nonprofits. And I find like Tyler and his team are just like, have been really great to work with. So, so shout out to them. And next we are welcoming Angela Stamps of Kentucky Athletic and Social Clubs. And you are in Flint.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, how are you?
Good. You're a tiny bit quiet, I think, but it also might just be my computer.
Oh, is it? Can you hear me now? Maybe it's
I can hear you.
I'm good?
Yeah. Perfect. So just for a little bit of background, Kentucky is a community-based nonprofit organization which was founded by Angela in 2010. Angela started the organization after discovering a love for biking and is dedicated to empowering and inspiring Genesee County youth through educational and physical programs oriented around biking.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we do.
That's so awesome.
So
talk. Oh, you go ahead.
Yeah, we provide, Kentucky Athletic and Social Clubs provides the Burston Bicycle Club project at Burston Fieldhouse, a 9-week bike riding program for teenagers ages 10 to 18, where they can earn a free new bicycle package.
Man, I watched a couple of your videos on social media of you guys taking, it looks like so fun. And I was also getting like hyper like childhood nostalgia out of it. Like, you also are probably one of the cooler people that we've had on the Cackle. Like, you have like a crazy helmet and like just like really cool vibe. And you were like taking all the kids on a bike ride. And I was like, man, I want to be this lady.
Oh my goodness, it is so much fun to hang out with these children because, well, you know, what inspired me to do it is, you know, obesity in our like country, globally, you know, is impacting our youth in like a really huge way. And when I took up cycling out of necessity, I realized that this is a form of transportation that you can actually incorporate as a lifestyle. So working with the children, teaching them a variety of disciplines from cardinal points, north, south, east, and west, time management, how to repair, just minor things on your bike is very important for these children. You know what I mean? Because most of them don't really get an opportunity to see their community in that way. Most of the time we're in cars. We're cooped up in the house. Sometimes people think there's an issue with safety, but once the kids have an opportunity to come to the program and actually work to accomplish the goals that we set for them, it's so wonderful to see them become empowered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing even in the video, like you would be like, we're, you know, coming up on this like crossroad, we're going to do this, stay to the right. And then like somebody, like the kids behind you would like yell it down the line. And I was like, look at these kids. They're like really like, they're on a serious like bike ride adventure right now. And they're like communicating safety messages and like all this stuff. I was like, that's so awesome.
It's pretty cool because some of them, when they show up, I don't know, when I was younger, socializing at school was like a big thing to me. We would walk home from school, we would go into after school activities, but these days, most of the kids are driven around all the time. And a lot of them tend to do things on a computer. They don't actually have human interaction. I think that's one of the benefits of our program is that they get, and a lot of them also don't have an opportunity to be a part of a team. You know what I mean? Because with certain sports and activities, you have to have a certain level of coordination, like with basketball or football, those kinds of things. But with our program, as long as you just come down to burst in with the attitude that you're going to try really hard and you're not going to give up, you should be okay.
Yeah.
And these relationships that I've seen develop from, you know, them meeting each other in the program, and then they take those relationships outside of the program. It's just been so fun to watch them evolve. So like I've had kids, and then back to the childhood obesity, there's one student I'm thinking of in particular. She actually, we were headed to Myers, which was our location, because one of our goals is to ride 270 miles in like a 9-week period. So I give them specific foods to eat for cycling, and she didn't quite choose the correct meal, and she actually passed out, fainted, and I'm like, look, I told you, you're not a seasoned veteran. You need to pay attention to what you eat and, you know, follow the instructions. I found out later when we were doing an interview that she lost like 30 pounds from riding the program.
Man, that is really cool. And it's just like getting out there and like moving and like kind of learning how to eat. And I know when I was little, like, you know, my mom worked late, so we'd come home from school and we just like, whatever's in the fridge, just eat all those things. And like, so that is like really good to kind of learn about nutrition and bike riding. I mean, like, kids, I can't believe they're not bike riding lately. Like, how do they get places like when their moms are at work and stuff?
That's one of the things, another goal that we try to impart in the children is to become self-sufficient. I mean, I tell them, I'm like, I hope you don't plan on living with your parents for your entire life. And, you know, some of these children cannot afford to buy a car as soon when they get out of school or you know, whatever financial issues you're having. But if you have a bike, I call it 2 for 1. Because if you say, for example, need to go to the grocery store, you could just hop on your bike and go pick up your groceries, and you've taken care of an errand at the same time you've done something good for your body.
Yeah, that is true. So some people, like, I feel like the nonprofit sector, like, don't consider that as much of like a business, but like really, like, I mean, I run our Entry Point as a nonprofit, and I'm like, really, I don't see much difference because I like feel like you have a lot of these same like worries with like staff or with just operations, and you've still got bills to pay and overhead and all of that kind of stuff. So how I'm saying like Angela is a small business owner. As a small business owner, how's your experience been growing a business in Genesee County?
Well, you know what? It can be pretty challenging because we offer the program free to the kids in the community. So, I wear a variety of hats from accountant to program coordinator, hiring people, managing the used bicycle fleet. But when I look at these kids and see how they evolve and how it just benefits them so much, I realize that I just have to keep going forward and trying really hard to make sure that this program is available to these children, because so many of them wouldn't have an opportunity to just see different things outside of their community. I mean, it's so fun to take them from like a kind of a dilapidated or rundown area, and we ride, because in the beginning they're struggling because they have a sedentary lifestyle and it's really tough. But one of my favorite parts of the program is when we get to like week 5 and we're traveling outside of the city and they built up a bit of stamina, and I announce, hey, we've left the Flint city limits, and they're like, wow, Miss Angela, I'm not even tired anymore. Just to see their perspective of their community being broadened is pretty cool to see. I mean, we go to so many different places. Thread Lake, we go to Grand Blanc, we go to Burton, to Formar. We've seen, and then some of the things that we see, like wild animals, or the different sunsets and the different paths and the bridges that we cross. I mean, it's just so much fun to be out there.
Yeah, and it's nothing like experiencing like your region from a bike and not a car. Like it is like you're really in it. Like you're really like, you notice a lot of things that you don't normally notice when you're just zipping by.
Absolutely. And then, technology is wonderful, but I really love teaching these children how to use like a hard copy map, because what if your GPS isn't working? You know what I mean? You won't be able to find your way. So
they're like, a hard copy of a map?
Yes.
What is this drawing? Yeah, that is so true. Yeah. That's a good point. So according to our research that we just released on Monday, 52% of women-owned businesses in Genesee County are led by Black women. Did you know that? Yeah. I was like, damn, that's so great. Because I mean, like demographically, it's not like 52% of the entire population in Genesee County. So it's like really leading the small business community. So what advice do you have for young Black women in Genesee County who might be thinking about starting their own business?
I would say to not try to reinvent the wheel, because in my former life, I was a hairstylist. So when I dove into this nonprofit thing, I had no idea of what I was getting into. So professional development, networking, and finding people who are already doing what it is that you want to do, finding mentors. I think that's a huge part of it, because there's just so many things I just didn't know. I had no clue. It wasn't on my radar. So fortunately, I have had like some really good mentors at the different foundations, watching people at Burston Fieldhouse who already have programs in place, having conversations with those people, and just, finding someone who's already, because I mean, it's kind of different what I do in terms of the bike program, but there are fundamentals like, grant writing, finding a specific type of board member. I didn't know at first that I kept hearing that I needed like, committees, but what I didn't realize is that the type of committee that I needed to develop actually was born out of students who actually took the program and graduated and back and volunteered. So we created a youth advisory council. So also for the type of work that I'm doing, having that youth perspective has just been really invaluable. These children, we have meeting. Well, they're not children; they're young adults now.
Yeah.
I want to be politically correct, but the information that they share with me, the insight, it's just been amazing, and it's really helped a great deal because, like I've expressed to them, there's only so much that I can impart to the children. I feel like peer on peer interaction, working with the children when they're having a tough time, say going up whatever hill or struggling to attend class, having someone already been in the program to talk to them and to coach them is just really, really helpful.
Yeah, that is really, I feel like I was kind of saying with Angie, the prior person, it is like mentorship and like things where you can like ask people because you don't know what you don't know. And then like, really leaning on those people to kind of guide you is so important. And then like, we have a really great board where like, we have like kind of like handpicked people that like we really enjoy working with and stuff. And they're just so helpful. Like you just like text and just be like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? Like this thing just happened. Like, what do I do about that? Or like, even we have like people on our board where I'll like have to like, even like photos for the cover of research reports that I'm like, what do you think of this? And they're like, nah, that's got to go. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. Like just literally anything.
Help me on our website too. I did a whole thing where I thought it was just so cool. They were like, well, no, Miss Angela, that's not going to work. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, you're kidding. I'll take that right down.
We have to be receptive and encourage them to give their advice and not shut them down because you're being sensitive or emotional. You know what I mean? Allow them to speak freely and encourage that sort of feedback. This has been very helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a life lesson for sure. Everyone should just replay that portion of this episode a couple times for themselves before talking to anybody. So real quick, before we go, what do you think that economic development organizations and like business support organizations could do to better support businesses like yours in the future?
I think volunteerism and really donations. I provide the program free in the community, but it costs money to. I have to, at the end of the program, I have to provide these children because they get a new bike, a new helmet, front of lights, and a few other accessories. That stuff costs money. Like I have to provide staff. We need program sweeps to make sure that the children are safe on the road. We have to pay a bike repair guy. So donations, and then just people who volunteers. Maybe even some board members, people that would be committed to, helping to see this program continue to grow.
I keep muting myself because of the lawn people. Great. This is real professional. Didn't you not know? This is like the most professional.
I can't even hear them, like at all. I don't hear it at all.
But I keep muting them because they keep like walking right by this window that's right here. And I'm like, come on! Make it mode.
What a drag.
Anyway, where can people go to find out more information about Kentucky?
Well, I have on Facebook, there's Angie's Bikes. Instagram, there's Angie's Bikes. And then Kentucky.org is our website. And there you can get more insight into what we provide, how much a bicycle package costs. If you're interested in being a part of the board or volunteering or just coming out and hanging out and riding with the kids, because I feel like when we have more people on the road, it just sort of normalizes bike riding. And let me mention that during the pandemic, bike riding was like our saving grace. It was one of the things that we could still continue to do. And I know for me personally, it is like a total happy space. Like I get excited when I go outside and I can hear like the birds chirping, the wind on my face, the fresh air, talking to people that I wouldn't normally talk to, going on streets that I wouldn't normally go on. Like it's just a wonderful thing, and I've met so many people just from being on my bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. Well, thank you so much for joining. It was a delight.
Thank you.
And then I will hopefully talk to you soon. Yay! And our final guest is Deborah Johnson. Last but certainly not least, she is the owner of Citizens Statewide Security, which is also located in Flint. Hey!
Hey.
I'll give a tiny background just so you don't have to say all the things.
Okay.
But then, so Citizens Security is a security and surveillance technology company that opened in 2003. Deborah and her husband founded the business in their basement, and they worked tirelessly to grow the business in the interest of protecting the homes and businesses in their community. So tell us like a little bit about like your background, like what led you to starting Citizens Statewide Security, and then tell us a little bit more about the organization.
Okay, my background is actually I was originally in banking, but in 1997, about 24 years ago or so, I had the opportunity to become a security consultant. For one of the larger companies that's in Genesee County. And I quickly became one of their top sales consultant. And because of my ability to connect with people, I was able to sell them the service and the product that they needed. So what led me to start my business was because, I felt like that I was able to offer a better service to the community than the company I was working for.
I like that. You're like the top, you're like, I'm making them a lot of money.
Yes.
My money. Wait
exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that. So then, and like, so you guys serve Genesee County predominantly, or like sort of the broader region?
No, we serve Genesee County and all the surrounding areas. So we go pretty much everywhere in Michigan. Yeah, we have customers in Ann Arbor, in Detroit, in Lansing. So we go with Saginaw. We also have a lot of customers in Saginaw County. So you call us, we'll be there.
Awesome. And what's your experience been growing a business in Genesee County?
Well, our experience is, it's growing a business, having a small business, it's not easy. There's always obstacles, when you're growing a small business. But, one of the things, like for me, one of the things we did in our first early years was we started in our basement, like you mentioned, to keep overhead, at a minimum. So, our goal is basically, to stay, my experience is just staying focused, and getting out, talking, prospecting. One of my greater experiences connecting with the chamber, with the Flint chamber,
Yeah.
Because they provide so much information. When we first started, a few years into work in the business, we didn't have that connection. So we was just out there just, struggling and just out there trying to get customers. And I find that, I had a visit from one of the chamber members and to my office, and they came and sat with me and told me more about the chamber. And I decided to join. And after I joined the chamber, things for me got a lot easier as far as resources, information, so I was able to, they made themselves accessible to me. So I was able to call. So, after joining that, I started having a lot more positive experience, networking, was a great experience, and just, networking with other business is great experience for me also. So I've had, ups and downs like any other small business, but mostly, ups.
Yeah, I did find, I remember talking to a couple of their small business owners at the very beginning of the pandemic, and it was like, just people were like, did you see these like grant programs that came out? Oh, did you see this one from this corporation? And it's like so hard to keep up with like resources like that. It's like, even if they're there, you don't have any time to go look for them. So that is really nice that the chamber is actually like making that.
Yeah. I came across actually just going out, on calls. I came across, some small business that, they're not aware of resources, that's out there because, first of all, first thing I would ask is, well, are you a member of the chamber? Because you get all this information in your email. So, and most likely, most of them, was not members. So I was like, that's the first thing I say. First, you need to join the chamber.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like some communities, you hear the opposite. They're like, no, that's not a good thing. That's awesome.
I always advise them to join the chamber because you get great resources, you get great information, and they keep you informed. So
yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, because I know it was like there's this one person that was saying in the beginning, like, oh yeah, I probably am spending like 40 hours a week just like looking for different like grants to apply for and like resources and things like that. And then I was like, that must be nice because there's no way I have 40 hours in a week between like kids and like running a business to be able to like, I can't even spend like an hour. Like I was like, all my hair was gone after the end of that first month.
Exactly. Well, you got to work overtime, so you work your 9 to 5 or whatever, and then I spend time on the site just after I finish. So after my servicing customers and stuff like that. So so you always working 12-hour days, and
Yeah, there was we just interviewed 2 weeks ago, the owner of Browndages, which is like a Band-Aid company for people of color. Like it's like not the like this color Band-Aid. I was like, not color Band-Aid, but like brown bandage, like bandages. And she was describing it as like she has a 9 to 5 and she has a 5 to 9. And she's like, and sometimes I have like a 9 to midnight. I was like, that's true.
Right. Yeah.
So one of the things that we talk about a lot just as a research organization is how having a wide range of sectors within a community of like companies that do a lot of different things really help regions weather economic storms, because kind of like the pandemic or a recession or whatever, it might hit industries differently. Like what are some of the challenges that you've faced as a business owner just in this like you've been around since 2003. So you've seen the recession in 2008, you've seen the pandemic. Like what are some of the challenges that you've been facing?
Some of the challenges that we've faced, as far as with the pandemic is, not being able to, go out to, because we're face to face, business. So it got really slow because we weren't able to go out on these calls. We have customers that refuse to let us in because of the pandemic. So the grants and the PPP came in very handy. For us, because we still had to keep our doors open. We still was able to keep our doors open. So that was one of the biggest challenge that we face as far as doing this pandemic period.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it's like that would be a good example of like there are some industries, it's not like you can just stop providing services like security services to your existing customers. So you have to operate, but then you can't be going out there and like installing things in people's homes and things like that because of the pandemic. So it's just like, no, you've got all the costs, but you can't really operate in full capacity to like make
exactly.
It's just like
Yes, right.
So one of the reasons that Entry Point was commissioned to develop this small business analysis was to provide an annual resource to the Economic Alliance and other local organizations so that they can better support businesses in the community, reduce obstacles, help business owners navigate challenges as their company grows. what impact do you think that a vibrant small business community has on the region? Like, why do you think it's important for like the local small business community to be better supported by those types of organizations?
Well, I think it have a huge impact. To be supported by those organizations. Because when you support small business, you're providing jobs for the community, which generates revenue in the form of paycheck. And those paycheck goes right back into the community by, spending that paycheck with small business, and other goods and services, through our small business, our community. So, which in turns stimulate the economy. It's a huge impact, and I feel like that's one of the impact that they have in our community.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it is like that money that you spend on Amazon or even at Target,
Exactly.
it might have employees that are like cashiers and things like that work in the local community, but for largely the profits that Target earns are not staying in that local community. So
Right.
Yeah, so that is something that we look at a lot. And then also, I just feel like a small business community, kind of what Tyler was saying earlier, is like there really is kind of like a vibrancy to that. Like, it's not just the coffee shops, but it's like companies like yours, and you've got like this really like full and like authentic like business community that like that's where people like that's the experience that people have in that region, is like your local small business community. It's not like stopping at a Target is like, Genesee County, they have Target, great. Like, they're thinking of all of the local businesses that they're working with in that region. So
the thing is, one can't, small business in the community, they depend on each other. So one can't survive without the other. That's my belief.
Yeah. Not that I hate on some Target, but but I like small businesses more.
Right.
Do you think that economic development organizations could be better supporting the local business community?
Say it again.
How do you think that local like economic development organizations, like these community support or like business support organizations, could be better supporting small businesses in the region?
I think the way they can just to make resources more available to small business, I think, because there's still a large population of small business out there that is not aware of all the resources that's available to us. So I think that would help as far as, I don't know what they would do as far as to just focusing on making sure that every small business have that resource available to them. I would that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. So who are your customers, and where can people go to find out more about Citizens Statewide Security?
Well, my customers are homeowners, businesses, and like I said, we service, all of Genesee County and the surrounding areas, and the whole state, actually, we do. And, anyone that is in need of a security system, anyone that's in need of surveillance camera systems, they can find us they can Google us, our website, which is protectedbycitizens.com. And we also have a Facebook also that they can go
cool. Okay, awesome. So then people should reach out to you. I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join. I know you had to like wait. We made you wait this entire time, so thank you so much for not. Okay, I'm done with this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Yay, so big thank you to Fireside Coffee, Kentucky Athletic and Social Clubs, and Citizens Statewide Security. We put links in all of our social channels, like in the comment section. So if one of the businesses you were like, hey, I want to learn more about them, you can check that out, or they all have social media pages as well. And then thank you to Tyler so much from the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance for providing his insights, and also a big thank you to them for supporting our research and sponsoring today's conversation. And thanks to all of you for watching today. And remember to share this episode and to help spread the word about these local businesses and about the research. And you can check out the entire 2021 Genesee County Small Business Analysis at entrypointmi.com. And then we will see you all back here at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, where we'll be talking to 3 more businesses from Genesee County. Thanks.